Hi, this is Sean. Today I thought I'd briefly go through my collection, give you some of the things that I think about collecting watches and how I build a collection, really, my philosophy of collecting watches. So first of all, I have 8 watches. I primarily choose them for aesthetic purposes. That might sound incredibly obvious, but I think a lot of us get hung up on things like movements and the history of the watch and other things, and obviously they're really, really important, but the main thing is, how's it going to look when you're wearing it? How's it going to go with the clothes that you're wearing for the event that you're attending, etc. So that's my main thing, really. I think another question is, what is a collection? What would make up a collection? For me, 8 is not a collection, so I'm not a watch collector I'm not a watch collector. I'm not a watch collector as such. I'm just someone who likes watches. I see some of the videos, for example, on things like Hodinkee, and I see the people with their watches laid out on the table, and I think if you have 300, 1,000, 10,000 watches, that's obscene, to be honest. And some of the people on Hodinkee, I think, that's too many watches. You have too many watches. I might be upsetting people saying that. I hope not, because that's not my intent. But I think that you should love every piece, and the more you buy, the less you're able to, really. It springs to mind that guy who has a collection of Rolex bubble backs, and they're all on the table, and it felt wrong, really, to have that many watches. But anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that too much. I'll just take you through the 8 watches. So this is my first piece. So it's a Citizen Promaster automatic. I'll link to all the videos so you can watch the video of the full review if you so wish. But this is a really nice watch. It's got a blue dial, as you can see. I don't wear it very often, actually. Tuesday the 23rd of last month, maybe the last time I've worn this. And this is a lovely watch. It's great value. I can't see it staying in the collection, in quotation marks, for very long, to be honest, because I just don't wear it, and I prefer to let it go and perhaps buy something else, or perhaps keep just the watches that I have. I think in terms of what I said about my philosophy of collecting, I am influenced by things like minimalism and the slow fashion movement. So minimalism basically is the idea that you shouldn't get hung up on possessions and you shouldn't have too many things. And I tend to like having the minimum amount of anything. And obviously you're probably thinking the minimum amount of watches is none or one at the very most. And I completely agree with that, but I like watches, so that's why I've got more than one. But in terms of going beyond 8, 2 of the 8 at the moment I just don't wear. So I will probably be getting rid of them. But anyway, I do love this watch. I'm glad that I bought it. I'm glad that I tried it. It's 42mm. Dive watch, 200 meters. That's just a great piece. If I get rid of this, I might have a look at the Nighthawk, the Citizen Nighthawk, because I really like that too. So I mentioned minimalism and slow fashion. Slow fashion is basically the idea that it's the opposite to fast fashion. So fast fashion, you buy 10 t-shirts and you expect them to only last for a month, so then you buy another 10. You buy quality and you buy things that are classic, so you don't have to buy, new things next month when the old things are out of fashion. And that's why I like classic watches that have been around for a while, and you can wear them at any age and with any outfit and things like that. So that's another thing that influences my watch collection. I don't want to be buying new watches when my tastes change. My tastes are fairly set now, so I'll probably keep the ones that I love, and if I did get rid of them, I'd probably just want to buy one that was relatively similar. And that's another reason why I don't want to have too many watches, because no matter how many you buy, you're never going to be not wanting others, so you might as well just be satisfied with the ones that you've got. I could go out to a shopping centre and see 10, 20, 100 watches that I'd like to own or that I like the look of, and I could never buy all of those, so I might as well just be satisfied with the ones that I have. Within reason, obviously, you can buy new things when you want. So this is my latest acquisition. It's a Garmin Vivoactive 4S. I share it with my wife. I use it only for exercise. So you can see today I've done 0 steps because I haven't worn it, because I haven't exercised in a couple of days, not been feeling very well. But nice watch, 40mm. Not something that I would go for aesthetically if it wasn't for exercising. But there you go. So my third and fourth piece. This is the Citizen Promaster Tough. One of my favourite watches in my collection. Not something I'd normally go for. It's a very kind of active beta watch. Very tough, as the name would suggest. Titanium, 40mm. I'll place a link to the videos that I've made on it. Just a brilliant watch. I didn't really expect to like it so much when I bought it. It was just something that I was kind of obsessed with at that time. It wears really well. It's a really nice size. It's very light. It feels great on the wrist. This is one that I'm going to keep forever, hopefully. Never say never, but you know. Fourth is my Seamaster 30 from the 60s. I think it's from 1963. It's 35mm, I think. Manual wind. It's not a perfect example. It's not completely original. The dials had some of the text rubbed off, but it's a great watch. It's turned me on again to vintage watches, and I just think it's brilliant. Think how much you would need to pay for a really good quality dress watch, new, and then think that this was about £200, and you're getting, you know, real history, really elegant watch for the price. And it's something that I really like. Brilliant. As I've said, my ideal number of watches is 1, but I think you've got to be realistic. You've got to say, you know, you might be going to a wedding and you don't want to wear a Citizen Promaster Tough, so that can't be your only watch. So then you buy a dress watch as well. Then you perhaps buy one for everyday wear. So I think 3 or 4 is quite a good number, because then you can cover all bases, you can have enough variety, but you can also make sure you don't have too many. I definitely think there's that question that goes around, is it better to have one good quality watch or a few good quality watches, or lots and lots of watches that, you know, are less of a good quality? And I think it's definitely the former for me. My whole philosophy really of buying clothes and buying anything really is to buy the best that I can and have the bare minimum amount of those things. I don't really like clutter. I know it makes me sound like some sort of really incredibly boring person. Maybe I am, but you know. So this is 5th watch, CWC G10. I've made a video on this, again I'll link. So it's Navy issue, 1989, tritium dial, as the T suggests. It's got a smashed crystal on both sides of the dial, but it's never bothered me. It's a great watch, 36mm, thick spring bars. It wears really nice. Again, it's really light, great beta watch. Good for the military enthusiast who kind of likes that military connection. I can see myself selling this, to be honest. I don't really wear it very much. It almost seems pointless selling it because I won't get very much money for it. I don't need the money as such, but as I've said, I really don't like having too many things. But then again, I have got the 8-hole watch box, so maybe I should just keep it. Would be an excuse to buy something else, I guess. So there's that. CWC are great. I think really good for kind of things like birth year watches. 1984, the year of my birth. Slightly more for one of those. It'd be a fat boy and maybe a couple £100. But, you know, great watches. Number 6 and 7. Got the Omega Speedmaster, first Omega in space. I've had a bit of an uneasy relationship with this watch. I bought it originally and I chose it above the Moon watch. It suits my wrist better. I've got a small wrist, 39.5mm. But I just kind of didn't bond with it. It's just something a little bit boring about it in some ways. But that's my taste. My taste is for like classic, timeless watches. And I don't know, I just toyed the idea of selling it for a while. It's still in the long term, might be something that I sell. But I've fallen back in love with it. I really like wearing it. It's a kind of nice, on the dressy side, sports watch. Goes nice with kind of dressier clothes. It's an absolute pain with the 19mm strap because you can't get kind of bracelets for it. You can source them, but they're more difficult to get. So I wish they'd have put it on a bracelet or made it 20mm. I think one of the reasons, and I've got to be honest, one of the reasons why I don't sell this watch is because it's not worth it. I mean, I know that Jenny L made a video about 3 watches that are good investments and will hold their value. And one of the watches was the Speedmaster, and that's, for me, absolute nonsense. This watch, if I sold it to a dealer, would probably get 2,000 at best. When the retail price is 3,800. So how does that hold its value? So it's, if I sold this and got 2,000 for it, I would be looking at getting another watch if I bought another one for much less than the retail price of this. So I'm actually trading down, which doesn't make any sense. It's a quality watch. I love the chronograph. It's really useful for me. I'm a teacher. I actually use it to time things. Kind of unassuming. Just a really, really nice watch. It doesn't blow me away, but it is a really nice piece. Number 7, Tissot Automatic. This is 40mm, or maybe 39, or maybe just less than 40. This was a wedding present from my wife, so this is something that I will never sell, I will never get rid of. About £400 retail price. I think it was on sale for a long time at Goldsmiths for about 290, 280, something like that. Just a really solid watch. Really nice size. I like the bracelet. It's not the best quality in the world, but I quite like the pattern on the bracelet. This is a watch that I chose and I bought before I really got into watches in a big way. And I bought this because I liked it, which sounds like an obvious thing, but I think sometimes we get carried away with the brand, carried away with what the movement's supposed to be like, what the history is supposed to be like, what watch we're supposed to buy. And this one was just a pure purchase because I actually liked the watch. I loved the watch. And up to this day, I still think this watch is the one that suits me the most out of all of the watches. It's perfect size for me, and it kind of suits my style, like I said, kind of a little bit conservative, kind of timeless stuff. I don't wear anything too zany, and this goes with that. Great value for money, I think, this watch. You're getting a proper quality watch for a few £100s. And last but not least, probably the quote-unquote best watch in my collection, the Rolex Explorer 214270. And this is, I've made videos on this. This is the Mark 1. So in 2011, when this was released, the dial had 369 in solid white gold. Then in 2016, Rolex replaced this watch. They didn't change the reference number, but essentially they updated the 369 and made them fully loomed. And they changed the handset to make it more quote-unquote proportional. I prefer this version. Evidently, I would say that because I bought it and I own it. But I just think it's got more character than the newer one. The newer one for me is a perfect watch. And you could replace the word perfect for kind of sterile and boring. I don't really like modern Rolexes because they're too chunky and they lack elegance, which the former ones do. I know that's dead pretentious to say that. This is the only one for me out of the current catalogue, and obviously this has been replaced by the Mark II, that has some interest to it in terms of it. It's not a perfect watch. It's maybe not as proportional. Maybe they did make a mistake by making those 369 solid white gold rather than loomed. But it's just something a bit more interesting. Some people think that this will be a collector's item in decades. That remains to be seen. When Rolex make mistakes, they tend to be well received by the collector's market after a while. But currently this one's cheaper than the Mark II. And I know some places have trouble shifting this because, there's a quote-unquote better version, an updated version on the market that you can buy. Still gone up in value since I bought it, and that's what you get with Rolex. You know, people talk about watches for investments. They're not. They're terrible investments. But this watch cost 4,300 when I bought it. It's now over 5, and it's still difficult to get. So some places are selling it for 6. So, you know, it's a good thing about owning a Rolex sports model, I guess. So in terms of closing comments, I think I do recognise that different things, different outfits require different watches. Don't require, but would be better if we had different watches. So I think a collection of watches needs to cover certain bases. But I also think that I don't think I need 8 watches. I think 4, 5, need is the wrong word obviously, but 4 or 5 would be a good amount. So for example, if you take these watches, these 3, that could be a collection. You've got the Citizen Promaster, a beta watch. You could wear it anywhere. It could tackle any situation whatsoever. You've got the Omega for dress wear, and you've got the Rolex for all other wear. And that would be perfectly adequate, even for someone who's really finicky about wearing the right watch with the right attire and things like that. I think we've got it brings to mind the pretentious mode. I'm going to switch to pretentious mode. It brings to mind the Oscar Wilde quote, which was, "Beware all enterprises that require other clothes." And that's completely true. If you've got to change your watch every day, then perhaps you've got too many watches. Perhaps you're going to too many events. I am jealous, but you know. So yeah, so I hope you liked the video. I know it was a bit rambling. Forgive me for that. But my modest collection, and I think I'll be cutting it down by at least 2 in the next couple of weeks. So I'll end up with 6, well 5.5, because one's partially my wife's watch. The only watch that I'm really looking at in terms of in the long term that I would really like to add to the collection, my grail watch if you like, is the GMT Master 2 16713, so the two-tone previous generation model. I love the steel versions, but they're just ridiculous in terms of the price, 11,000, 10,000 or something like that. They're really hard to get hold of as well. The two-tone just represents something different to this, so it would sit alongside this, because I would find it difficult to sell this because, you know, sentimental purposes. And it also resonates with what I said about I mainly choose watches from an aesthetic standpoint. So it's very different. It's a bit of an FU watch, you know, something that you can wear and go, you know, this is awesome that I've got this watch. A bit uncool, I guess, the two-tone, but I think it's so uncool, it's cool, you know, that type of thing. Okay, so as I've said, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you like the content. Check out all my other videos on the watches in this watch box. And thanks very much. Bye-bye.